Welcome back to the 3x5 Life podcast. On this podcast, we talk about mindset, mindfulness, productivity, everything self-development. This week, I am flying solo. We have had the flu during flu season rip through our house. Our son had it 2 weeks ago. We got it about a week ago, but for some reason, our son has forgotten how to sleep. So Jessie and I have been tag teaming nights of zero sleep. And last night was my night to get sleep and her night to slowly die. And so she does not have the mental fortitude today to do anything but hang around the house, and you're stuck with me. So I'm started reading a book called Value Creation Kid. So one of my goals this year was to read a little more about parenting, different strategies. I forget who recommended this book to me. Again, Value Creation Kid. But I am just a few chapters in, and one of the concepts kind of hit me. They talked about material value, emotional value, spiritual value, and when we think about value and exchanging value, we default to material value. So you buy something, you say, okay, my $10 is worth that Starbucks and muffin, and you exchange the value there. Or, we are paid by our boss, by our organization, by the perceived or exchanged value that you bring to your boss or organization. So that's how a lot of times we think about value. Your car has a certain value to you. If it starts acting up and not being or leaving you on the road, your value or how you perceive the value of that car diminishes. The actual car probably diminishes because there's something wrong with it. So that's how we generally think of value. They took a deep dive into emotional value in this book, and I thought that was very interesting. So when it comes to emotional value, the mind is very powerful. It controls our thoughts, obviously our emotions. It can make us feel thankful, excited, but it can also destroy internal value when we're in the blame game, the victim mentality, feeling anxious. But now if you take a step back and say, okay, when I interact with a colleague, a friend, a relative, a family member, in that moment, you are exchanging emotional value, and you need to look at it that way, because that little shift will change how you view your interactions moving forward. This week or last 2 weeks, it's funny, as I'm reading this book, and if it doesn't come across on this podcast, I'm a pretty upbeat guy. And when I talk to people, I always try to leave them feeling better than when they started the conversation. And the last 2 weeks of really not sleeping, I haven't been doing that as much. And there is been multiple comments from people where it's just like, man, where's the Bryan I'm used to dealing with? And it's because obviously my soul's been sucked out by not sleeping. But it really brought to head the power of exchanging that emotional value. So let me read something real quick to you. So emotional energy has the power to create and destroy. When people interact with you and they leave in a higher state of positive emotional energy, you have created more positive emotional energy by giving it to others. The opposite is also true. Have you ever felt great and then interacted with somebody who made you feel worse? That person destroyed emotional value. The goal is always to increase positive emotional energy in the world and not reduce it. We all want to be around people with positive emotional energy. It makes us feel good, remain curious, and explore opportunities. So that little passage right there is where you can create so much value in your life. If you're trying to get a promotion, if you're trying to just be more part of your community and looked at as a thought leader and whatnot, all your interactions that you have in life, you need to be like, okay, when you leave that, did I create deposits where that person left feeling uplifted, excited about life? Or did I take something away from them with how I showed up and I drained them in some way? And maybe that was by talking poorly about others. Maybe that was just, you were just so in your head about some other problem going on in life that you couldn't show up for that person in that moment. And I'm not saying to always throw your emotional baggage underneath, the pillow, because sometimes we need to have those engagements where you have that conversation to hash things out. But there's a time and place for that. But there's so many small micro interactions that we have every day, and we just need to be mindful of, are we filling their emotional bank account or are we draining it? So anyway, that was kind of the theme of today's podcast, is really looking at all our interactions almost like a transaction of you saying that $5 is worth it for that coffee at Starbucks. You placed a value on it and you're willing to depart with that $5. So you're exchanging it. Now we need to look at, how we exchange almost like monetarily between you and another person, and how you are leaving that conversation and what you are, how you're filling their bucket up. So again, this book, Value Creation Kid, has been great thus far. And just the whole idea of, looking at material value, but then translating that to emotional value and what type of value you're giving others, I just thought was very interesting. This is a short one this week, guys. Have a fantastic week. We will see you soon. We are all